Connection here at the studio, so we apologize. The last segment of the show probably not going to be airing out on the video, but thanks for listening. Anyway, all right, so this is the last segment of the show. This is Kelly's Corner. Kelly, what do you got for us today?
Well, had a few ideas for a few things. Some of them I might actually end up hitting later. But with the Combine and everything going on, I'm going to just mainly talk about the Combine. Everybody gets all excited when you see all these great numbers. You see these amazing measurables. And people have a tendency to forget the tape. The game of football is played on a field. It is not played in a box score. It is not played with a stopwatch. If there's a certain guy you like, a certain guy you want for your team, if he has a great combine or he has a bad combine, don't worry about it. What does he do on the field? We see every year there's that workout warrior that shoots up the draft. Mike Mamula's name's the one that really comes up from Boston College. He went from a 3rd or 4th round pick to 9th in the draft because he was the first guy that basically gamed the combine. He's like, I'm spending all my time on these things that I know we're going to do. I'm going to look amazing, and that's all that matters. Everybody gets excited about the numbers. If it backs up what you see on film, it means something.
Well, yeah. How much of this, though, really? I mean, for football fans, how much of this is really just they're starved for football, and so it gives them something to pay attention to leading into the draft, which, of course, comes at the end of next month.
It's how can they starve for football? The AAF's going on, man. We got football.
Oh, that's a different story. We'll have to talk about next week.
But no, yeah, you're right. I mean, that is the thing. I mean, it's if you would have said 10 years ago that the Combine was going to be on TV and people, I'm sure the NFL would have laughed at you. Because they were never expecting something like this to happen. They were never expecting people to be this interested in it. There are betting lines on Combine numbers. I mean, that's the point it got. It's like you can actually bet on the Combine. And they put out the stupidest number I ever saw on DK Metcalf's over-under 40 was 4.59. He only blew that away by almost a half a second. I mean, it's like, think about that.
A half a second's a lot in a 40. I mean,
you
it's
are
huge.
That off of something, and you threw that up there.
Well, and you saw one of the Twitter handlers I follow, which is like a sports kind of history type thing. They showed a picture of Pete Rozelle. It was in black and white with a chalkboard when they were doing the draft, right? Yeah. Bubba Smith was the number 1 pick of the Colts at that time. And it just goes to show you how far advanced this stuff has become and how it's become part of the game and part of the entertainment that fans desire. But I think that's too, fans, without fans, the sports don't exist, right? So fans, in many ways, the most important people on the planet when it comes to sports and even the NFL. At the same time, though, fans get enamored by these numbers because the way they're presented by the media, it's like it's the be-all, end-all. So to your point, you got to look through some of that and say, okay, how did this person perform? I can come out of nowhere and have the best combine in the history of mankind and then get drafted and then go away, just like I wasn't known before that. So how do fans look through it, Kelly, is my point. How do fans look through that and say, okay, here's really the guys that I should focus on?
Well, how do fans do it or how should they do it?
How should they do it?
Yeah, because that's the big thing. Fans do it like everybody else does. They just see those combine numbers, and then they're picturing in their head, oh, wow, this guy ran that. Or, he had, that offensive lineman had 40-some bench press. He's going to throw people around. Doesn't really work that way. You have to take those numbers and see if they back up what you see on tape, because it's Orlando Brown last year had like 13 bench press reps. And they asked him about it. He's like, well, it didn't hurt me when I was throwing people around in the Big 12. And he had a really good season at tackle throwing people around like he did back there. That's the combine didn't match up with the tape.
Right.
Then you see some guys that will have big names, have a mediocre, and you look, it's like, well, that kind of makes sense. Elijah Holyfield, the running back from Georgia, 4.8140. Everybody freaked out about it. But if you watch his tape, he's not a speed back. He's very elusive, got great feet, but he has no long speed, and we know that because there's 2 or 3 games where he gets ran down where it should have been touchdowns. Right. So it's like we see what he ran, we go back and see, it's like, well, no, okay, that makes sense. That's not what he does. And it's a whole picture. It's not just one piece of the pie. You have to have everything. You have to put everything together.
Well, coming out of this, do you anticipate, is there anybody, we have to pretend like we know how people are thinking, which is ridiculous, but we have to do that as fans and prognosticators, media members, whatever you want to call it. When you look at what the Raiders are seeing now, what their needs are, what they're doing, are there one or two guys that you now are more convinced are the best fit for them based on what we saw this weekend?
No. And and here's the thing, it's even been a little more clouded because the people that I could put there, they kind of did exactly what I thought they were going to do.
Right.
So there hasn't been anybody that stepped up to where it's like, I want that guy, or fallen off to where it's like, well, no, that guy's out of the picture. It's everybody's kind of done what I was expecting. So this hasn't done much for me. My thing with the whole draft and the Raiders, especially at number 4, is what happens at 1, 2, 3. Because in my
it dictates. I mean,
yeah,
it changes everything.
My opinion, 1 and 2 are Bosa, Williams, small drop to Allen, and then, if I've got the 4th pick or I've got the 14th pick, I think I can get the same guy.
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's why I think that the Raiders are going to be open for business when it comes to trading down. So we'll see what happens. It depends, though. It depends. If the right guy's there, you take him. If he's not,
and that's the thing. Say if 1, 2, 3 are those top 3 guys, who's trading up to 4 and for who?
Right.
If the 3 guys are defense, it might be for Kyler Murray. That might be the best situation for a trade down. It might be the worst for a draft pick.
Yeah.
You don't know. Personally, I would like to see somebody trade up in the top 3, because give me one of those top 3 guys, I'm golden.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be interesting. I mean, everybody's got opinions. Of course, DK Metcalf lit the world on fire. Everybody's excited about him. The guy's a monster. We knew that going in. Kelly, we've talked about it on the show for weeks.
10 years ago, he would be like I said, the commissioner 3 days before the draft, say with the 4th pick, the Raiders select DK Metcalf. I mean, that's a done deal 10 years ago.
And some fans want that. I don't think there's any chance of it happening at all, of course, but you never know. And that's the incredible thing about the draft. Kelly, thanks, man, for being here.
No problem.
Again. I appreciate it. As always, we appreciate you guys being with us. Check out silverandblacktoday.com for your latest in Raiders news and information. We'll have more about the Combine there this week, as well as the archive of this show, both video and audio. I want to thank our executive producer, Marc Badain. I want to take the time to thank our engineer, David Stepanian, and thank all of you for being with us. For my co-host, Kelly Kreiner, I am Scott Gulbranson. This has been the Silver and Black Today. And as always, Raider Nation, may the autumn wind be at your back. We thank you for being here. We'll talk to you next time here on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Selfless service is the